All right, FightHype.com here with one of the finest trainers in the heavyweight division, former silver medalist Kevin Berry. Kevin, you got your guy Joe Parker coming back in about 2 weeks from now, 2 or 3 weeks from now, December 15th, back home in New Zealand. Just want to ask, do you think, there's always talk in championship fights about experience, do you think the experience Joe's gotten from fighting Joshua and Dillian Whyte is making him a better fighter going forward, and how?
Undoubtedly. You know, we fought in 2 really big fights this year, both pay-per-view fights, both in the UK, both against very, very good fighters. Hey, and there's no secret we're coming off back-to-back losses. You know, the Joshua fight, Joshua didn't have his way with Joe like he did with everyone else, but won a decision, Joe being the first guy ever to go the distance with him, and then we backed it up on a 5-week training camp against the dangerous Dillian Whyte, and Joe had him out in the last round, but it was a little bit too much, too late. I think he's got invaluable experience in those 2 fights. We will not be defined by 2 losses. You know, Joseph is still one of the elite heavyweights in the world at the moment. He's still very highly ranked, and we know that we're only 1 or 2 fights away from another very, very big fight. Where we find ourselves in a position at the moment, a very dangerous position, a position where Joseph Parker and the whole team are under enormous pressure. We've never been under this pressure in any fight in the last 6 years. You know, we have to perform, and we have to perform well on December the 15th against Alexander Flores.
Based on this camp, from what you've seen from him holding, you know, just in camp, is he going to get the knockout against Flores?
Look, I tell you what, we've focused on power and strength this camp, and I'm very, very pleased with what Joe has been showing me to date. We've done about 110 rounds of sparring. It's funny because a lot of people have said to me, you know, does Joseph Parker, he's had 2 big fights this year, he's made a bunch of cash, does he still have the hunger? God, he showed me more hunger in this camp than at any time of the year. You know, this is very, very serious. We know that this fight is Joseph Parker's career, and we have to deliver, and we have to deliver well. If we want to stay there as an elite heavyweight, we need to perform. And I'll tell you what, you know, Joe has a lot of fans and a lot of love in New Zealand. You know, we campaigned exclusively in New Zealand all the way up to winning the world title. Our last 3 fights over 18 months have been in the UK, and now when we're in a fight that means more to us than anything else, and where his career is on the line, we're back home fighting. And it's going to take a very, very good fighter to beat Joseph Parker in front of his fans in New Zealand.
Now, you're speaking right along the lines of what I was going to talk about next, because you're saying how hungry Joe looks in camp, and there's been rumblings, been talk. We've talked about it. Did he look timid in this fight? Did he not push the gas enough? Do you think that with Joe hearing these things, he hears these things and it motivates him, and he wants to put a silence to some of those criticisms?
Oh, look, 100%. You know, Joe is driven not to silence what people are saying about him, but he's driven to make himself better, to prove himself better, to fight his best fight. And he knows, you know, that we came up short in our last 2 fights. But, you know, Joseph Parker is 26 years old. There is a lot more to come from Joe. And for the first time, I think, in the 5.5 years that him and I have worked together, I'm seeing him now grow into his man body. He's starting to fill out. He's thick in the shoulders. He's lifting more than what he's lifted in the other 2 camps this year. He feels stronger. His punches feel stronger on the pads, and he's liking it and enjoying it. And he's really looking forward to putting hands on Alexander Flores.
Now, you know, Dave Higgins, Joe's promoter, says should Dillian Whyte win his fight, he's got a bullseye on his head for Joe and you guys. Is that how you feel too? That's the fight you would want the most going forward after the 15th?
This is the fight that Joe wants the most.
Is the Dillian Whyte?
Joe knows that that fight, one is, you know, we rolled the dice and we took it on a 5-week full training camp. 2, we copped an illegal knock to the cerebellum that affected Joe's performance and being concussed throughout the fight. And when, you know, Joe knows that is one fight that got away from us, and we as a team, and Joe as a fighter, want the Dillian Whyte fight. That's something that the tactics and the way that fight went the first time will never ever happen again.
Do you think you can actually get Dillian in the ring for it again? Because, you know, his perspective, I won the first fight, I'm sitting on my mandatory position. Why would I want to fight a guy like Joe again?
No, I know, that's going to be the hard thing.
Right.
You know, but it all depends. You know, boxing's a funny sport. You know, a lot of people are saying Dillian Whyte is the leading contender to fight Joshua in April. Well, if that doesn't happen, then Dillian Whyte's going to be, you know, he's going to look at which of the fights make the most financial sense to me and most business sense, and a rematch with Joseph Parker is definitely a fight that the fans in the UK would like to see.
Yeah, I think it is. No, I agree. It is a great fight that a lot of people...
You know, you look at the back and forth action in that fight. It was an exciting fight. It's a fight that got a wee bit away from us. It's a fight that we would love a redo in.